Hey guys, it's Gab. I wanted to do a quick video for you guys because I get a lot of questions about how to actually check the hard bounce rate in your email messages. And in particular, this is actually for Aweber. Now, depending on your ESP, there's different ways to actually grab that information. Now, I'll tell you the reason why checking your hard bounces is so critical. So, the reason why, number one, is the fact that if you have a high bounce rate, then that is really going to affect your email reputation. And email reputation, the way that that affects you as a mailer is the fact that you won't be able to inbox as many email messages. Now, of course, if you're a normal marketer, we all know how important it is to actually hit that inbox. So let's actually just take a review now of just Aweber. Now, I do suggest you guys, anyone that does have any questions or concerns for a particular ESP that you're having issues with trying to pull that information, just let me know and I will be happy to make a quick video for you. Now, in this case, let's actually take a look at Aweber. Now, Aweber is a very, very basic ESP. It doesn't have a lot of functionalities, and it wasn't really built for the enterprise, the enterprising emailer. So it really is just for your basic email marketing messages. Now, in this particular case, if we look at the email messages here, we are looking at this one in particular, which is we're looking at a 2.5% bounce rate. Now that is extremely, I wouldn't say extremely high actually. It's acceptable, we will say, but still in the eyes of the ISPs, especially depending on where these hard bounces are coming from, can really affect your inboxing rate. So it's extremely important that you try to mitigate those complaints, especially hard bounce rates. And this is why email verification is extremely important and will actually help your email rep and will actually help you inbox more email messages. So in this case, now we will actually want to find out where these hard bounce rates are coming from. Now, again, being the fact that Aweber is such a basic email service provider, it doesn't have a huge functionality, unfortunately. So there's no actual way to actually check on the hard bounces within the actual email message, unfortunately. So I'm sure anyone that has Aweber knows this. If you try to click on anything in terms of total sent, bounces, and even complaints, you don't get any of that information. So the only other way to actually do this to see what your hard bounce rate is to actually go into the manage subscriber page. Now, what you're going to actually have to do here is you're going to have to actually query the database. And unfortunately, what you cannot do is do it based on email message, okay? You want to try to do this daily so that you can at least try as much as possible to get as much as the true hard bounce rate. Because right now, when we're going to query, as you notice, we had 3 email marketing messages in there. And the problem is it's going to pull the hard bounces from all those three email messages. So that is the downside to using such a basic platform. Unfortunately, it doesn't have very much functionality. So in this case, what you're going to actually do is you're going to query the database, and what you're going to actually look for is the unsubscribe. Actually, you are going to actually select unsubscribe. Actually, you're going to be taking undeliverable. Okay, so undeliverable is true, and then basically you're going to add another search query, and you're going to put here you're going to put the stop status actually. So here the stop status is going to be unsubscribed. And now you're going to actually search. So at this point, this is how you get all the hard bounces. Okay, so if we were actually looking at this particular message, so as I said before, we had 3 email messages right now. So, and the issue is it's going to take the hard bounces from all these messages. So here we're looking at a 0.6, a 2.5, and 0. So the 0.6 discrepancy is not huge, but it's still going to affect it, because we want to know the true, out of this 2.5, how much was actually hard bounce. So you're going to have to actually do 2 queries right now. You're going to have to do one that I just pulled here right now, which is undeliverable is true and stop status is unsubscribed. And here you're going to get all the hard bounces. But remember, okay, in this report that you see here for bounce, you're going to have a hard and soft bounce in here. So right now we queried the database for hard bounces only, okay? And here we can actually save the segment here as hard bounce. And we're going to go ahead and do that, and you're just going to save it. And typically in this case, what you want to do is you want to export the CSV, right? Because I want to export the file. I want to see how much. So in this case, I'm going to say hard bounce. No should be hard bounce. There you go. Okay. All right, so the next query is for the soft bounces. So in this case, it's going to be the same thing. Undeliverable is true because these email messages were not delivered. And the stop status here is actually going to still be subscribed, okay? And again, you're going to hit search. And here you're going to put it as a soft bounce. Okay, so right off, we already know that apparently there wasn't many soft bounces. So out of that entire query there, it was all hard bounce. Okay, so we're going to save that, and we're going to export. So I think I would pretty much, I don't need to actually go through the actual Excel reports because it's pretty clear that 99.9% of all the emails I queried out of that were all hard bounces. So we are going to keep that. So this is unfortunately the only way right now to actually query Aweber for soft and hard bounces. And again, you should be checking this number on every single broadcast, especially when you're adding a new data. And I always tell people it's very, very important. I mean, this is the whole point, right? This particular client that emailed me was verifying with a particular vendor, and he was pretty concerned about the hard bounce rate, and he had every reason to be so because it's at a 2.5, and that's, in my opinion, unacceptable. If you are paying for an email verification, it shouldn't be anywhere close to being over 1%, okay? So this is one way to check. Now, in this case, this vendor, I would say, hey, you should be checking for another vendor. So hopefully this will help you guys actually check your hard bounce rates, pull that data, try to pull it on a daily basis, especially if you're doing it via broadcast, especially when you're adding a new data, okay? So I'll actually be showing you guys another video of actually how to test your email verification when you're adding new data to, let's just say, a seasoned list, okay? Because that's one thing that people actually don't realize. They don't actually realize the issues when it comes to verification, because what happens is that they're adding a lot of emails to seasoned lists, and you actually do not get to see this hard bounce number. I mean, you do, but because you're already adding it to a season list with a higher amount of data, of course, it's all a numbers game, that you're not going to see this true result. You know, the reason why the client's concerned here right now, it's because he just added, 1,400 people, and out of that 1,400 people, 2.5% of the emails hard bounced, which is unacceptable, okay? So if you guys like this video, hit like. If you want me to create more videos, or if you have any other ESPs that you're having issues with trying to pull that hard bounce rate, let me know. I will create that for you. So thank you so much, guys.